Hey everybody, it's me, Mako, from Twitter, or Blue Sky, or wherever you find my shit from. Anyway, I wanted to make a video on how I made the animation from earlier with my Shark OC Rav and him carrying a cool ass delicious salmon that he caught from the ocean with his bare hands, I'm assuming. Anyway, let's get started with the art. So, what I usually do for my Live2D rigged animations, I I try making it riggable from the beginning. What does that mean? So, pretty much what I would do, like first of all, I would sketch it and then make the line art. Uh well, not make the line art. I would actually block it out with solid colors first. Pretty much making the parts individually on each layer and then going in with the colors, the line art, and then shading, yada yada yada. So pretty much I don't have to do the cutting process, is what I'm trying to say. But for this model, I wanted to challenge myself and actually make the full art first and then cut it up later. So let's go through the layers real quick. I mean, like, whoa, for any good boy artist out there, uh, you always start with a sketch. And what I usually do is I do a little rough sketch, right? Just like a loose sort of a loosey goosey sketch right here. After that, I put a clipping mask over it to make it blue. So when I go in for that cleaner sketch above, you can see right through it. You're not gonna get confused with the same color because it's different. Anyway, so after I make the rough sketch, after I make the clean sketch from the rough sketch, I do the same thing, apply the clipping mask, and then I do the line art, which is this one right here, I'm assuming. Yep. Yeah. So after I make the line art, I go in with a base color, and then I make clipping mask for the other colors in the picture. After that, I do some shading, um, and then the usual suspects like highlights, whatever the undershade. I don't know what that's called. Oh yeah, shading right here too. Some more highlights just to be fucking extra. Anyway, this sort of oh yeah, also color for the lines. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, this style was heavily influenced by Muse Dash. That game just looks so good. The animations in that game are pretty good too, not gonna lie. So I tried emulating that. That is my big inspiration for making Live2D animations to begin with, actually. Well, besides Cookie Run Kingdom, but I feel like Muse Dash came first when my interest for this type of animation stuff came up. So trying to match that art style. Oh yeah, also this like little piss stain on the eye. Yeah, that didn't end up in the final animation, unfortunately. So sorry for you piss lovers out there. Anyway, let's get rid of that actually. So tips. Yeah. When shading, I don't really have that many specific strategies to go by. I mean, what is it? It's the usual, just like, okay, choose the light source, where's the light coming from, and then just put the shadows where they need to be, put the highlights where they need to be. I actually recently learned about this like under thing. Like, I don't know if it's called like ambient light or like ambient occlusion, shit like that. I don't know, but it looks good. I usually just choose like a different like sort of contrasting color. I chose pink, or like a little bit like of a purplish pinkish color, I guess. I went with that. Anyway, oh yeah, another tip. I've seen a lot of artists do this where they like blur the edges of like the shadow. Um, I don't know why it looks good, but it looks good. I guess it gives it more depth. Live2D artists do usually is they actually separate the shading layers from the base like color layer to get more depth. But for this piece of art, I kind of just like have everything together, which leads us into the cutout. So again, I want to reiterate, usually for my rigs, or my art, the art for the rig, I separate everything out already. But for this one, in this case, I actually had to cut it up. So how I went about cutting it up was I went from the top to bottom. So we got the face, and the face is made up of multiple parts here. So we got the eyes. So each part of the eye is actually separated onto its own layer. We got the top maw, and also we got the tongue, and then the bottom maw, which is separated into two parts as well, which is the front and the back. If I could get that, yeah, right there. Oh yeah, so here's the thing about the teeth. So the teeth are actually, each tooth is on its own separate layer. So making that depth, I'll be able to move each tooth individually when the head rotates. So yeah, it gives it that depth. So let's get rid of that. And then we got the inside tongue. All right, so that was the face layer. We got the neck, which is also its separate layer. Oh yeah, and the back brow, which will add more depth. By the way, cool tip right here. So this tool right here, called in operations, called select layer. If you don't want to go through all your layers like this, like going through like, oh, where's the brow layer? Where's this layer? All you do is select the select layer tool, go here, drag, and then it'll show you where that piece of art is in the layer hierarchy, and it's right here. So let's get rid of that. Anyway, onto the body. We got the back fin. It's pretty easy to art out, to be honest. I mean, it's just a freaking triangle. Then we got the best part, the pecs. Oh my god. So each pec is on its own different layer, so I can control it. Also got some shading on it as well. I mainly focused on giving it that sort of like volume, just so that it looks like pretty pseudo 3D-ish in the final rig. All right, then we got the right arm. Oh yeah, by the way, when I'm referring to the right arm, I'm referring to the perspective of the character. I know that's like a 3D model thing, but I also kind of apply that to 2D rigs as well. I mean, it makes sense. Anyway, we got the I don't know what it's called, the bicep, and then we got the tricep right here, and we also got the hand sept or whatever, and then we got the salmon. So the salmon has its own layers actually. So it's the body layer, the mouth layer, the eye layer, the fin, and then all the way in the back it's the tail. All right, so now we got Rav's left arm, which is separated into two parts, where it's just the bicep and then the tricep and hand. Oh yeah, wait, let me use my own advice here. Okay, yeah, it's all the way at the bottom. All right, so now we got the main body, which, as you can see here, I actually made it so the top of the shorts is connected to the bottom of the body. I was really trying to figure out whether it would be a good idea to cut it out like this, right? Or like this, but not include the top, like this top part right here, and just extend it out from where the leg is. I'd say this what I did would be a good decision, because then if I were to cut it out like right here, that means I would need to sort of finagle with this like middle part right here. Same thing goes with this side. I would have some hard time like connecting the lines for each of the parts when moving the legs around. So I think the solution I went for was pretty optimal. All right, now for the legs, we got big thunder thighs over here. We got thunder thigh right here, and then we got the groin, which is just this like ball, and then the oh my god, I'm on the wrong layer. The left leg, which is has this big fucking purple piss stain right here. And then now moving on to the tail, we got two parts to the tail, just the long part of the tail, and then just the tail fin, and then that's pretty much it. That's the whole rig. Now it's time to go into Live2D. We got Big Boy Rav over here holding the salmon. So I can actually go over the parameters real quick. If you don't know what parameters are, they're basically like things that set the minimum and maximum of emotion. But you can do like allowed parameters, but that is kind of just like my basic explanation. So pretty much, let's go over some of these parameters. So we got we got them separated into folders. We got the head. The head has its own X angle, basically left and right, and then the Y angle is up and down. So actually, if we combine those together, we get like something like this. This took a little bit of messing around to make it look good. I think what I have is like all right. I could have like been more anal about the like mesh, but kind of wanted to just like do this. Anyway, we got the eyes. See, you can do this. We got blink. Oh yeah, so the way I make blinks is weird. So, but it looks good. I like to add like squash and stretch shit, so it looks bouncy and like very personable, or personable, but have more personality. So whenever the eye closes, it actually stretches up like that, and then closes like that. So it stretches up, and then stretches. It switches to another piece of art with the blink, and then you stretch it to the sides like that. Make it narrower to its normal size, like there. I know, weird, but like it has a cool effect, and I like it. Then we got the tongue wiggle and then we got tongue bounce, boing boing boing, and then you can like combine that shit together, and you'll be like, I am fucking not funny. Anyway, body. So the body has its own separate parameters. We got the X. Look at that depth, dude. Oh my god. I was struggling so hard trying to get that like sort of depth on the body. It is kind of like just trial and error most of the time when creating stuff like this. You just got to get used to it and sort of just know what you're doing instead of just kind of throwing shit at the wall if you want to save time. This was the first time I was like kind of doing this type of thing, so I was just doing like the throwing at shit at the wall until it works sort of strategy. But guess what? When you do that, you learn. So the next time I make something like this, it's gonna be way easier, way smoother. Oh my god, you're gonna watch and see in like, I don't know, a year when I go back to Live2D shit again. It's been a while. It really has. All right, so body Y. So I actually don't use this in the animation, but all it does is this. What I wanted to do is I wanted him to like go down a little bit and then spread his legs, because that's what you usually do when you squat, right? Or like bend his legs. But I didn't end up using that. So body Z. So the body Z was supposed to be like sort of like a hip sway. I actually watched a few videos on how to sort of do it, but it was mostly like human models, and also it was like at a front view perspective. Rav is kind of at a 3/4 perspective, so it was kind of hard, but I think I did fine on that. I don't know. It looks weird, but like in the animation doesn't. Hopefully nobody thought it looked weird, but yeah, this is what it looks like. It looks kind of awkward, but whatever. We got the pecs, so I did actually make them like little, like boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, I can hear the fucking people's like, shake your pecs. One more time, boom, 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 boom. Okay. We got move X and move Y, so pretty much it's just for me to move the model around itself like this. Pretty good for repositioning. You can do that in the animation editor. It already has like its own default parameters for it, but I like just having like this, just to be safe. All right, next we got the arms. So each one of them can rotate like this from each part. So let's say like it's that. We got the other arm. The pec also follows the arm as well. In hindsight, I should also have made like this part of the body also sort of deform with the arm, because it kind of just looks stiff like that. The salmon also gets deformed, rotated as well, and it also gets deformed in the body animation as well. If you did not see that, see, look at that. See that back of the mouth kind of gives it more depth. So when you're making Live2D animations like this, you should keep that in mind. Anyway, oh yeah, the hand, it kind of just separates the fingers. I wanted to actually separate the fingers into its own layers, but I was like, I don't really need to do that. So I just kind of made sort of this stretching animation. I know, kind of lazy, but I guess the job done. You can barely see it on the animation, to be honest, but it's like kind of like a subtle movement, but whatever. Okay, so the fish actually has its own parameters too. So the fish eye wiggle like this, like the tear, like, oh, I'm gonna get eaten, I'm gonna get vored by this fucking stupid bar shark. Oh my god, what has my life come to? And then we got the wiggle, trying to escape, like, oh, get me out of here, get me out of here. Well, too bad. You're gonna go into his you're gonna get eaten or something, I don't know. Let's see. We got the tail now. So I use this method called skinning, which I know sounds weird as fuck, but it's basically when you separate the mesh into different parts and then add these rotation deformers. So each part individually can rotate. So the tail does this, up and down, up and down. And then the tail fin does this, up and down, up and down. So yeah, that's all the parameters. We can actually go into this, like physics settings real quick. We can actually do like a little preview, like, whoa, so depthy, wow. That's what it looks like. Anyway. Oh yeah, so here's my layer, or not layer hierarchy, a deformer hierarchy. So I actually don't know what the fuck I'm doing most of the time, but I try to like stick by some of these rules. First rule, when you want to keep this in mind, basically when you have a child rotation deformer and a parent warp deformer, when you try warping the mesh underneath, it doesn't when you try warping the mesh underneath it, it doesn't get warped because of how rotation deformers work or some shit like that, which is kind of weird. I don't really like it. You see the shit? Like, I don't really like that. I don't really understand how that fucking works. Another tip is to name all your things so you don't get fucking lost. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find, if you want to learn how to do Live2D shit, you can definitely look up tutorials on YouTube and guides on Twitter as well. I know, and you can go to like Live2D subreddit and Discord server. You can ask for help there. A good thing you can do is actually download models online and then mess around with them. See how like the parameters work, how the hierarchy in the deformer tab is. Yeah, you can learn through that. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so here is the animation file. You're probably looking at this and you're like, what the fuck are these like circles? So these are keyframes, and this is like the timeline. The parameters are all here, by the way. And what you do is you basically move the parameter. It actually makes, if you move the parameter, if you click the parameter and move it, it automatically creates a keyframe. And then if you go to somewhere else on the timeline, you're able to do like the same thing, and it tweens to that value. Yeah. I mean, if you've ever worked with any sort of animation sort of program like that, it's pretty much translates over pretty nicely. Uh, it's just with Live2D parameters now. So, but anyway, this motion, it took a lot to make it actually kind of look like this bouncy. First of all, I actually added a more subtle bounce over by scaling the model, the model's Y, like this. All right, I know it doesn't look like much if you look at it like right now, but it's there. Um, it's that subtlety that gives it more like of a bounce. Because that's the thing with tweened animations, I find them to be kind of stiff. So I try for mine is to add like some bounciness to it and like a bit of like that smooth sort of flow. All right, so this is the video editing portion. Okay, you might be wondering, ew, you using Adobe Premiere and not DaVinci or whatever? Yeah, okay. Look, Premiere makes sense to me. All right, I have a subscription. Well, not me. My one of my parents have it, but yeah. Anyway, so what I added, I exported the animation as an MOV file. MOVs support transparent backgrounds. So I put it in, and then I added a background. I duplicated this layer. I duplicated the clip. I put it in the back. Did some overlay shit. I scaled it up so you're able to see his like head in the background right there. That's like how I kind of got that. Let me actually like mute the okay. So that's how I got the head in the background to like kind of do that. It's an overlay layer too, if I didn't mention that. I also got like a little halftone going on. Yeah, I know, right? Like, oh, I love halftones. I'm halftone pilled or whatever. No, but halftones are pretty cool though. Pretty cool pattern. And then I got like this like video off of YouTube where it's cityscape on a like in a perspective of a train ride, which is I thought fit with the future funk music by School Toyama is pretty cool. If you never heard of future funk, please listen to future funk. It's so good. And I also added the Shark Week 2025 little like watermark here. I actually made this back in 2021, back when COVID shit was still happening, I think. And all I did was just change the 2021 to 2025, and that's it. Also made this like Cookie Run Kingdom ass fucking text box. Rav the shark, and he's saying, "Just looking at you is making me salivate. Grilled, baked, seared, or maybe raw." What the fuck was that? Okay. Anyway, yeah, just like basic editing shit, and they just put the audio over it, and he's like fucking moving to the beat. This looks so funny, sped up like this. It's like having a fucking seizure and convulsing. And then I do a little fade out like that, and then it's over. It's done. Rav's dead. Rav just died. He died in this video, and you didn't get to see it. Subscribe.